This is going to be part 2 of my Perfect Side series. This is going to be the Contenders. These are albums that are so good that they're just right on the edge of having a perfect side on them. And my wife noticed that I was spending most of my time talking about the weaker songs on the Pretenders video, that I was talking about bad parts of each album. And please understand that these albums are so good that it's really hard to nitpick the difference between a perfect side and a slightly less than perfect side. And for that reason, I was speaking about the weaker parts. Alright, one of my latest vinyl purchases, and it's not really that late, is Johanna Newsome Wise album. It's a double album. Johanna Newsome is a twee kind of artist, but she is producing music that is just incredible. This album is incredible. It was a double album. It's put out on the Drag City label, and it is simply remarkable. She's doing Van Dyke Parks had a lot to do with this album. Steve Albini had a lot to do with how this album was recorded. Mixed by Jim O'Rourke, mastered by Nick Webb at Abbey Road Studio in London. The painting on the cover is by Benjamin A. Verling, and it's a stylized painting of Johanna Newsome in a very twee setting. And it's excellent vinyl. The recording is really nice. So it may not be your cup of tea. Johanna Newsome's voice is something that a lot of people have problems with. Johanna Newsome's songs are difficult to understand in many ways, to really get the full meaning out of them, but that's what I love about it. That's what makes it so important to me, is that it's written in a style that is both intelligent and has deep meaning. Let's see, which sides was I going to? Like I said, it's a 2-album set, a 2-record set. I think I'm going to go with the side that has Only Skin and Cosmia on it. Both of those songs are just incredible. Only Skin is an opus. I just really have no way to give you a reason why this doesn't make it to the finals, because there's very little to cause it to not be worthy. But overall, I've just decided that, I don't know, I guess due to popularity and things like that, that it's just not perfect side material, even though it really, in my mind, is perfect side material. And this was recorded in 2006. I'd strongly recommend that anyone that has an interest in music that is highly intelligence-based, in the sense that the lyrics require thinking to really understand, to check out Johanna Newsome and Van Dyke's Parks orchestration on this album is incredible. It's really a tour de force. Another album that is perfect in many ways, Curtis Mayfield's Superfly. And I guess I'm going to go with Give Me Your Love, Eddie You Should Know Better, No Thing on Me, Think, and Superfly. The side is incredible. The reasoning behind this album, it's a movie soundtrack. The reasoning behind this album's genesis is incredible. It's basically a man getting over on the man, and it's actually a wonderful thing. It's a terrible story. It's a drug pusher who basically preys on his own customers, managing to bribe his way out at the end. And yet it's a hero story. And Curtis Mayfield is probably one of the most undersung geniuses in the music business. You can like or dislike his music, but this is an incredible album and has some great players on it, and just some great music. The song Superfly, I don't know how you categorize it as other than just great music. This is an old standby, Traffic, The Low Spark of High Heel Boys, and I'm going with Hidden Treasures, The Low Spark of High Heel Boys, and Light Up or Leave Me Alone. Steve Winwood has been around forever. He's produced some incredible music. Traffic, the band, was incredible in a lot of ways. I just think this is a phenomenal album of kind of a kismet of great people producing an incredibly great album. And I really have no reasoning behind not pushing it into the Defenders area, other than there's so many albums I've got in the Defenders area that this one just, in some ways it's not perfect, the side isn't, but it's incredible music. Something that I would highly recommend. The next one, They Might Be Giants, Flood. Wonderful album. Incredible music put out by a couple of guys that produce enough sound for a whole symphony. I'm going with the side theme from Flood, Birdhouse in Your Soul, Lucky Ball and Chain, Istanbul, Not Constantinople, and Dead. I guess it's also got Particle Man, Twisting, and We Want to Rock. And maybe Twisting is a slightly lesser song, but this album is pop, experimental, alternative, and it's just good. It's just really great music. And it had radio hits, and it had Particle Man's one of my favorite songs forever. And Birdhouse in Your Soul, I don't know how you can listen to that song and not like it. Just some incredible music. Maybe a little bit slightly less than perfect in some cases, and that's enough in this instance to push it to the contender status. All these albums are great. They're fantastic albums. Next one, Trilogy, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, incredibly great album. And the side I'm going with is The Endless Enigma Fugue, The Endless Enigma Part 2, From the Beginning, The Sheriff. Just remarkable music. Oh, Hoedown's on this side too. Both sides are just phenomenal. Both sides are worthy. Maybe The Endless Enigma gets a little monotonous in the middle, but other than that, I don't think you can find a flaw in this album. Great music. Kind of classic rock, kind of classic rock fusion. The next one, Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. Another incredible album. Aerosmith has done a lot of great work, but this is one of my favorites of theirs. Columbia, Toys in the Attic, Uncle Salty, Adam's Apple, Walk This Way, big 10-inch record. Remarkable stuff. Remarkable stuff. And maybe you can say that a couple of the songs on that side are not as strong as the others. And in this case, that's enough to push it back down to the Contenders level for me. I wanted very much for this album, Pure Prairie League, Bustin' Out, to go all the way to the end. Fallen in and Out of Love, Amy, Boulder Skies, Angel, Call Me, Tell Me. I've listened to Fallen in and Out of Love and Amy together for decades and decades and decades. This album is, I don't know, there were several groups that were out at this time, like America, that put out albums that were like party music, where you'd go to someone's house at a party and this would be playing in the background, or America would be playing in the background, or Average White Band would be playing in the background, and they kind of got the moniker of party music in that way, in some way, but this is just incredible stuff. Michael Connor, piano, Robert Alan Lang, Alan Ring, Craig Lee Fuller, vocals and electric and acoustic guitar and bass, George Powell, vocals, electric and acoustic guitar, William Frank Hines, drums, James Ralston, bass, Al Briscoe, steel guitar, Rick Ronson, backup vocals, Diane Brooks, backup vocals on Leave My Heart Alone. It's just incredible work, incredible stuff. One of my favorite set of songs. The next album, Jeff Beck, Truth. Another one of those classic rock, classic, this is an epic. It's just one of the fundamental albums of all rock and roll, in the sense that so many things came out of it. Jeff Beck went in so many different directions. He could play almost any kind of music, and did. Shape of Things, Let Me Love You, Morning Dew, You Shook Me, Old Man River. Just incredible music. Guitar, Jeff Beck, vocals, Rod Stewart, bass, Ron Wood, drums, Mick Waller. Just some phenomenal players and some phenomenal music. And very early stuff, very early kind of influential, groundbreaking music. Jeff Beck, always worth looking at. The next one is Dire Straits. Sultans of Swing, In the Gallery, Wild West End, Lions. You know, maybe Lions is a little slightly lesser than the other songs on this side, but not really. There's really very little to pick at. These guys are Australians, I think, if I'm not wrong. Mark Knopfler, David Knopfler, John Isley, Pick Withers. They almost created a genre themselves with the Sultans of Swing kind of music that they were making. And this album was pretty seminal in that whole area. Warner Brothers. Really great music. Phil Collins, No Jacket Required. Don't Lose My Number, Who Said I Would, Doesn't Anybody Stay Together Anymore, Inside Out, Take Me Home. You could pick side one, Susudio, Only You Know and I Know, Loving Long, Long Way to Go, Lonely, Long, Long, Long Way to Go. I Don't Want to Know, One More Night. This music came out in '85. It was kind of in the pop vein, but incredible work by Phil Collins. Definitely worthy of a contender of a perfect side. Next one is Grover Washington Jr., Reed Seed, Do Dat, Steppin' Through, Reed Seed, Maracas Beach. You might say that Maracas Beach is a little bit lesser than the three songs before it, but you could just as easily go Santa Cruzin', Just the Way You Are, and Lorraine's Dance. The entire album is incredible. Some people say that this is the beginning of smooth jazz. You can call it that. You can put labels on it like that. We recently lost Grover Washington Jr. But this album is so full of joyous passion, so full of jazz and funk, and the band is so tight